Hello, I am your host, Kathy Chester, and welcome to the Move It or Lose It podcast, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, and soul. The Move It or Lose It podcast is for information, awareness, and inspirational purposes only. I am not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV, so please consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. The views expressed by advertisers, guests, or contributors are their opinions and not necessarily the views of the Move It or Lose It podcast. MS Disrupted wishes you a very happy holiday season. We are also very excited to launch our very first holiday special for our chronic illness family. For only $19.99, you will be able to purchase a special group training personal session. Then you'll get a free one. So it's a buy one, get one free. You can purchase this for someone you love or get it for yourself. You'll also get a trainer who really understands what it is and how you feel. This is already up for purchase, so you can email at msdisrupted@gmail.com and we'll walk you through the purchase. My favorite part of this is that once you purchase and have the videos, they are yours to keep forever, so you lose nothing. I'm so excited to see new faces and new people in this group. So go ahead and grab it now. You also have till the end of January. I can't wait to see you guys as we begin this journey together. Hello, welcome to another episode of Move It or Lose It. Today I'm really excited. If you've not met her, I have Dr. Emily Splichal, right?
Yeah.
Did I say right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because I know you guys know I never say last names correctly. So, very interesting. If you don't know her, if you've never been able to speak with her, we're going to learn a lot about the feet and different aspects of why that could be damaging, why we're not doing things right, why our shoes may not be correct, and different ways that we can have relief from that. So, thank you, Doctor, for meeting us, for joining us today on the podcast. I'm so excited to nerd out with you on the things that I've been very interested in all that you do. So thank you for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I'm interested, when you became a podiatrist, did you know that you wanted to work with different areas of the feet? And just when did you know that there was something different you wanted to do?
So I think my background, in addition to
Mhm.
podiatry, is fitness,
Mm.
which ties into movement. And
Right.
really my passion is movement.
Yeah.
Now movement longevity, but movement
Right.
dysfunction, movement disorders. And when I was going through podiatry school, it was taught very, very isolated.
Yeah.
No mention that our feet are connected to the rest of the body.
Right.
So it was starting to not sit right with me.
Yeah.
And when I was being taught things, I was like, I think there's more to the story. So I started to seek that out. I
Mhm.
actually, after I got my doctorate, I went back and I got my master's in human movement, which is where I studied the sensory side of the foot.
Uh,
And then I studied under pelvic floor specialist, fascial
mm,
specialist, breast specialist, emotion, autonomic nervous system, all of that. And now I tie that into my practice. So
love that.
it was really my own exploration
Yeah.
versus what's taught in podiatry school.
Right. Love that. And I
Yeah.
think I agree with you completely. You know what I do. I teach movement for those who have different autoimmune diseases, spinal injuries, things like that. And so I notice a lot, obviously, with the feet in different areas. And that is a huge thing and not taught and not even really thought of, except for running. As I'm a runner, we go into figure out, like, okay, why do these shoes not fit correctly? Why do these not work when I try to run? I would say that other than that, it's really not thought about. It's like I'm going to go get this shoe is like really, I love the color. I love
Hmm.
the way, and then I'm going to get it. Does it fit my feet correctly? Do I know anything about this shoe? Not really, but I'm going to grab it. So
Hmm.
100% agree with you. So some of the things that I've seen, I know we've got a million things to talk about. The neural ball, I absolutely love the concept. So I want you to share about that and how that helps our feet.
Absolutely. So thank you for using the neural ball. For the listeners, so I have one of our new versions of it. We have a couple different ones, but the Neural Ball, which is from Naboso, which
Mhm.
is my sensory-based product line company that I launched 6 years ago.
Yeah,
All of the products by Naboso feature a patented texture on it. If people are watching the video, I have the ball with the texture on it.
yeah.
But there's a little tiny pyramids across the entire surface of every single one of our products. And those little tiny pyramids are stimulating the nerves in the
Mm,
bottom of the feet. Very similar to how your finger reads Braille.
mhm,
Essentially, your feet are able to read this texture of the Naboso products. So the neural ball specifically, it's a
mhm.
ball that then splits into two pieces. So you have two domes. So you can stand on them to stimulate the nerves, wake up the muscles, increase circulation. But it's really important to be able to do something, especially if you have MS or movement
Right,
disorder, is to do something that feels safe. It's obviously effective.
right,
Every product that we design at Naboso, I'm actually thinking of the MS or the
right.
Parkinson's client.
Yeah.
In that design, that it has to be approachable, it has to be
Mhm.
effective, it has to be easy, just because it's really so beneficial to that
Right.
population. So yeah, that's a little bit about Naboso, and then we recommend that people use it every single day to
Mhm.
wake up those nerves, and we have seen profound benefits in the MS space and all movement disorder spaces.
Right. So inside you also have it's a like a little ball that goes in the freezer or whatever, right? And it's
Yes.
cold. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that part
Yeah.
because
On this one, and
yes.
the other one has just a
Yeah.
texture.
Okay. So the newer one has a ball in it and then that goes correct,
Yeah. It's
which I
called
love
a
that idea.
cryopour. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
cryopour. So you can
Okay.
put it in the freezer, and then you are introducing cold therapy, targeted cold
Right.
therapy to the foot, which can
Mhm.
be really good if someone has like a plantar fasciitis,
Right.
trauma, or something like that.
Introducing the Pulse device. Cutting edge wearable device, revolutionary wellness designed to stimulate circulation, reduce harsh pain and tightness, and speed up recovery. The Pulse device uses advanced vibrotactile technology trusted by patients, clinicians, and wellness professionals. Whether you're recovering from an injury, battling a neural condition, or just want to feel the best every day, Pulse helps you rechange, recharge so that you can live and feel better. Lightweight, powerful, and easy to use. Experience better performance, better recovery, and a better you. Order now and save $30 using my code MSDisrupted at pulsedevice.com. The Pulse device is your health recharged. You won't be disappointed. Get it now for yourself. I have it. I love it. Go ahead and grab it. Yeah, I absolutely love that because I think that's so important for our feet. And so what would you say to those who have different issues with circulation? Because I know with a lot of my clients, circulation is a big issue. So in the wintertime, I know a lot of my patients' clients have Raynaud's. That's a big issue. So they may not be able to come right in and do the colds. So would they get less benefit if they are not able to do the cold right away? They're waiting for the very white toes to come back to normal. So what would you suggest for those patients and clients?
Yes. So what I would say first is that the circulation in our feet, and then circulation, I'll call it a disorder, even though that's not a great word,
Mm,
symptom, like
right,
Raynaud's,
right,
is microcirculation. And this is important to understand because there's different things that stimulate microcirculation, and micro means small. It's the itty bitty blood vessels that goes
right.
to the skin, to the
Hmm.
tendons, to the nerves, to the
Right.
fascia. So all of that. And because our feet are so far away from our heart,
Yeah.
that's where you start to see a lot of this. There are many different ways that you can increase microcirculation to the feet.
Hmm.
And it's not just warm socks or warm water or
Right.
something like that. One of the best is movement. And this is
Hmm.
really interesting that after just 50 steps, you have
Yeah.
increased the microcirculation to your feet, which is
Hmm.
evident through temperature.
Yeah.
Vibration is another one,
Hmm.
using like a whole body vibration platform, a
Yeah.
vibration roller. Really great way to increase circulation to the feet. And then another is texture.
Yeah.
So our socks, we actually have socks with the texture on the
Yeah.
inside, actually increase someone's microcirculation to your feet. So yes, you don't need to jump to the cold therapy.
Right.
We actually recommend the cold therapy as part of a recovery. So it's the post
Okay.
movement side of it, not pre-movement. Post
Okay.
movement. Pre-movement, you want to create a vasodilation, so an opening of the blood vessels,
Hmm.
which is through warming or temperature.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I love that. I like that a lot. And talk to me about the socks because that's what I really loved is the textured socks. So, because a lot of times we can't feel, I'll
yeah.
even go through socks and it's like a crazy thing. I know a lot of my patients and clients will say, my socks don't fit right. I can't get them to, they're not working. And I'm like, okay, there's some years ago, I was like, there's something to this. Why do all of us not have socks that are comfortable? Why do our feet, why are they never comfortable in shoes and socks? What is going on with our feet?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
talk
A
to me
lot.
about the textured socks.
Sure. So our socks, which we consider them like a recovery sock.
Mhm.
So think of it as a house sock. You could use it when you work out, if you do Pilates or something like that. And yes, you could wear them in shoes as well. But they are socks which on the inside has the small little pyramids,
Uh,
which may seem at, first glance that might be
yeah,
painful or irritating or like, ooh, could you imagine that on
right,
your feet? However, remember that we are speaking the language of your foot nerves.
right,
Your foot is actually positively responsive to it. It's
right.
not like nails on a chalkboard or something. So what that's doing is that's allowing you to feel your feet. It's
Yeah,
focusing on the circulation. It's waking up the muscles. Also, because MS, we're talking specifically MS, MS can
right.
get a MS related neuropathy,
Hmm.
and all neuropathies have different symptoms where the symptoms could be numbness, which is like a void of a symptom, actually,
Right.
or it could be what's called allodynia, which is
Hmm.
a hypersensitivity to things such as
Yeah.
fabrics and shoes and pressure and all of that, where stimuli is perceived as painful when it should
Hmm.
be painful. So
Right.
using something like the Naboso socks with the
Hmm.
texture is
Right.
actually desensitizing this allodynia response. So it's
I like that.
think of it almost like you're distracting the brain,
Right. Right.
stimulation of the painful stimulus. But it's something that's important to note is this MS related neuropathy can create a myriad of symptoms that you don't always know how to articulate. I
Right.
work a lot with neuropathy patients, and sometimes they're like, it just feels like I'm walking on cotton balls. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
totally get it. I hear this all the time. Or they're like, it's just like not my foot, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I get that. Like
Yeah.
I literally heard every description for neuropathy.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
sure. I'm sure you
and
have.
it can be very frustrating because
Yeah.
again, you don't know how to fully articulate it. And if someone can't empathize, meaning like, oh, I totally know what you're saying, right? Like I
Right.
feel that too. Like I can't do that because I don't have
Right.
neuropathy, but I can bring the compassion, the understanding to say, yes,
Right.
that is a valid concern. And
Sure.
then here's some ways using texture, if you're focusing on Naboso,
Mhm.
um, to desensitize or to upregulate so you can actually feel your feet
Yeah,
again.
yeah, because that would be the pins and needles and the weird sensation that you have or don't have feeling in your foot that you can feel then with the socks, I would imagine.
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
have them yet, but I would imagine, and I got very excited about that because there is that time, most of the times where a lot of MS patients or I have rheumatoid as well, we can't feel a lot of that, a lot of our hands and feet and different parts of our
Mhm.
body. So to
Mhm.
have the textured socks, I would imagine that would give us the opportunity to feel more.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that that's really, and I loved, like, reading more about you too, is that, the blending the barefoot, because I think a lot of us I've always felt like my feet were uncomfortable barefoot, and I know that's a lot of what people say,
Mhm.
but I know now I have to go barefoot for a while, so I've been forcing myself to go barefoot more,
Yeah.
And it's like, at first it was so uncomfortable. And so now I'm just more and more often. It's funny because my kids are always barefoot. And
Mhm.
I'm like, how do you do that? So I'm like doing
Mhm.
it more and more.
Yeah.
So what do you think that is, where a lot of us that have different autoimmune things, or, a lot of my stroke patients will not want that. And I
Mhm.
love the neurobot for that as well,
Mhm.
for them to be able to use, because a lot, as you know, a lot of stroke survivors can't open their feet all the way, or their hands.
Mhm.
So I love that as well. But
Yeah. I recommend that everyone get at least 30 minutes of barefoot stimulation every day. That could be, walking around your home barefoot. And that really is, which is kind of based off of your podcast name. You don't use it, you lose it kind of thing, where the nervous system is very plastic and
Mhm.
there is a evolutionarily important role of the nerves in the bottom of our feet as
Right,
far as how we stand up, how we relate to gravity, the ground,
right.
the movement, impact forces, all that fun stuff. That if you start to disconnect from those nerve endings, it
Mhm,
will then create a decrease in your balance. It
mhm.
will shift your posture. You will
Right.
start to have a fear in your movement. So you
Mhm.
lose movement confidence is essentially
Yeah,
what's supposed to happen. And if we don't feel confident to move, well, you're not going to move, right? And
right.
then that's again goes back to the name of your podcast. Um, so
Yeah,
with it, it is as much as we can, we want to get people barefoot
yeah,
in chronically shod environments or
uh-huh,
people, whether they have MS or not, or rheumatoid or not,
right.
there is oftentimes a hypersensitivity because of a lack of exposure to it,
Yeah,
right? Also, when we are in cushion, we are very
yeah,
tuned out of our feet. And then when you
absolutely.
suddenly stand on something barefoot, you are forced to be tuned in.
Right.
So there is you almost like overshoot the response.
Yeah,
um, I had people, I've been at conferences where we'll have the Naboso mats. We make
right.
yoga mats that
Uh,
have these tiny little pyramids across the whole thing.
uh.
And they put their foot on it and they're like, oh, ah, ah. And I'm like, it was not painful. So, like, really? Right. But
Yeah,
it's sometimes how people respond
right. It's like
when
me putting
there's
someone on the
a,
roller, and they're like,
yeah,
"Ah,"
and
and I'm like, "Really? Come on, like, don't be a
yes,
baby about this."
yes.
But
I think it's almost like an anticipatory. I'm very intrigued with like emotion, and I think it's
yeah,
an anticipatory anxious pain
yeah,
response,
yeah,
right? So it's just new, and their
sure.
brain is like, I don't know, I'm gonna think it's
Yeah,
painful, right?
right.
Versus like,
Absolutely.
okay. So what I will say for the listeners is that
Mhm.
as you start to implement barefoot stimulation,
Yeah,
voice stimulation, vibration, you adapt to it very quickly,
yeah,
very, very
yeah,
quickly. So what is initially like, ooh, give it like even a day or two,
yeah,
and you
for
will
sure.
start to actually crave
Mhm.
for the stimulation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of us, especially as a trainer for,
Mhm.
a million years, I'm in the gym with cushions, obviously, shoes for most of the day. So getting them in the beginning, it feels great, right? Like you get home, you want your shoes off, and then all of a sudden there's that uncomfortable feeling like I got to have something on my feet. But it's been really good to like not do that and just say, nope, I'm going to stay barefoot for a while. And at
Mhm.
first, you're absolutely right. It was like, nope, this is so uncomfortable and weird. But you
Mhm.
do get used to it. And then there is that feeling of like, this is what I need. I need to feel that. And I need to have my feet feel the floor. And again, with balance, that is so crucial to have
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
I love that. I love the science behind it, and the fact that I was told about you, and I was like, oh my gosh, where have you been? Well, how do I not know you? Um, I also was watching, one of the things I was watching as well was the foot wedges. Now,
Mhm.
back in the day, we would put our feet on the weights, the dumbbells, and
Mhm.
do that. And I've always loved that, where you elevate your feet. But the foot
Mhm.
wedges, obviously, for patients and clients, this is a lot safer. Now, I do use the small wedges, but I love the wedges that you have. It is
And
I love the idea of elevating the heel, obviously, stimulating, like, the for the lack of, like, dorsiflexion,
yep,
awesome,
yep.
and I love the idea of having that. So, when did you guys come up with that?
So our foot wedges, and for the listeners, so they can kind of visualize it, imagine so the smaller wedges are 10 degrees,
Mhm,
and then the larger wedges are 25 degrees. So they're
yeah.
different angles, and they look literally like a piece of pie, like
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of, right, like a triangle, half a triangle.
right,
Um,
exactly.
and but then it's also covered in the Novoso
Uh,
texture. So these we launched 2 years ago? I think in
okay,
23 or 24.
okay.
God, all the years just
I know,
kind of
right?
blur, kind of blur. But so the goal is this is why we created the wedges, is that if whoever, advocates barefoot training and getting out of your shoes and doing squats barefoot and
Yeah,
maybe doing some bicep curls barefoot, whatever it is I always need the base, your feet, to be
right,
in a stable position. Now, not everybody has a foot type that can hold itself in a nice, stable, neutral position.
sure.
So I will teach patients how to rotate their feet to find a stable base,
Mhm,
but then the only way that your feet stay there is if you consciously are like, hold your feet, hold your feet, hold your feet. And now
right.
you have to do something with the weights and it's
Yeah,
your brain can't do that. So
right,
the wedges are essentially being put under the foot to hold it in that position
right.
so that your brain can focus on the breath or
Yeah,
the engagement of your core, whatever it is.
right,
Uh, it's essentially following biomechanical or orthotic
yes.
principles. So this is very much based in kind of orthotics or biomechanics.
Right, right, which is so important. I love that. I
Yeah.
love the idea of the wedge. I love that they've got the same kind of thing as the socks too. So you've got
Yep.
that grip on there. And I
Yep.
think that is just, I mean, I use the wedges, like different wedges all the time in training, but this is such a just a step up from that, and I love that, so I'm definitely interested in that as well. So I just think that the products, the stuff and you also had I remember the barefoot shoes, I remember those, I love that idea. Then it kinda went out, so tell me how you brought them back in kind of in a different way.
So we actually work with different barefoot shoe companies,
Okay,
and then they resell our products or they incorporate our products. But the barefoot shoes, they had their first boom around 2008, 9, 10, 11, like
mhm,
kind of around that
yep,
range. And this is when the Five Fingers came
yep,
out. Nike Free
uh
existed. Nike Free does not exist anymore.
right,
And then you saw some of these other players like Zero Shoes and
right,
Evo
right,
Barefoot are probably the two largest. Um, Ultra is also, but Ultra is not truly barefoot like Vivo Barefoot and
okay,
Zero Shoes. So those players have always been around and they're very much continuing to bring an awareness and kind of advocate for the space. So we work with them. I
uh
think that initially in the beginning in the barefoot boom is that people thought you had to be a runner to wear
yeah,
them. So remember barefoot
oh,
running
yeah, yeah,
boom. It wasn't just a barefoot shoe boom, it was a barefoot
yeah,
running boom at the same
right,
time. And I just found it so interesting that if anyone bought a pair of the Five Fingers, the Vibram Five Fingers, they thought they then were like, well, I guess now I have to start running. I'm like, where did you get the?
so true, that's so true, I remember that completely.
You're like, I'm not a runner, so why am I suddenly a runner now? I
They
don't
all of a
know.
sudden were on the treadmill when I was teaching, like, "I guess I gotta run." I'm like, "No, you really don't. You can still walk on the treadmill. I mean, you're okay."
It was just a really interesting consumer trend.
Yeah,
But yeah, honestly, the category is here to stay.
yeah,
There are a lot of brands that come out of Europe. Probably most of
yeah,
the brands come out of Europe. And there's a website if the listeners want to check it out. It's called Anya's Reviews.
okay. I'll have that at the bottom
Yeah,
of the show
Anya's
notes as
Reviews,
well.
Anya's Barefoot Shoe. No, Anya's
Okay.
Reviews. Yeah. And
Send it to me
she
for sure, and then I'll put
I
it on the
will.
bottom of the show notes.
She has reviewed literally every shoe probably in the
Okay,
world, and not every minimal shoe, barefoot shoe, minimal shoe
mhm,
is a sneaker. Like you can have sandals,
right,
boots, hiking shoes. dress shoes. So the
Yeah,
category is kind of
very
broad
interesting.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So hers is great because she's done the whole review.
that's great. That's a big thing too, because even when you've got like your, your where whether it's a I'm kind of odd, I don't need a big brace, but whether it's like a small brace that hooks on, I
Mhm.
love how it's grown to a point where you can hook them onto a dress shoe or something like
Yeah.
that, where you're not like, okay, I'm going out, I might need this little help. So what do I
Yeah.
do now? Hope I
Yeah.
don't fall, or I love
Yeah.
the way things are made in such a way that we can do our life with them. It's
Yeah.
not like, okay, you can do this one thing and for the rest of the day, hope you have a good day. It's not like, well, good luck. So I
Yep.
really
Totally.
love how Naboso has really come up with several things that you can do for the day. It's not just like, well, good luck. We've got this one area for you.
Yeah.
So you really have, as you're the CFO, you really have come up with so many things and allowed so many people in with ideas to kind of brainstorm with that. So I really
Mhm.
like the way that you've done this.
Thank you.
It's just been really interesting to go through all of your stuff and just read more and more about you and the company. And so what so tell me what would be in the last like year, what has been like your favorite story of someone that has been using some of the products and you've been like, wow, something that just really hit your heart.
Yeah, so I do, and I totally know exactly which story I'm gonna say.
Oh, good.
'Cause she's now one of my patients, and,
Okay.
so she is a woman who a little over 2 years ago, she was going in for cervical surgery. She had, like, a spondylolisthesis, I think, or something
Okay.
like that. But she went in for cervical surgery. The surgeon nicked her spinal cord, she woke up paralyzed. I know. I just, like, couldn't imagine. So
Gosh. Yeah.
she was bedbound. This is over a 2-year period. She was bedbound and then worked her way into, like, a wheelchair
Mhm.
and then into a little bit more of, like, kind of a walker device and all of this, right? But during this 2-year period when she was working with like top spinal cord rehab
Right.
specialists in this journey, the whole time they were putting her feet in like poofy socks, and she would have like shoes for like grip or stability, right?
Yeah.
Called a bulky New Balance shoe or something.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of that. And it was like her feet were forgotten, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I don't feel my feet, so," right? They're just cover them up, right?
Right.
And then she switched spinal cord rehab centers about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like this.
Okay.
And they introduced her to Naboso. And for the first time in this like 2-year period since this, of her feet being perpetually in socks and shoes, she actually stimulated her feet, like,
Wow.
stimulated the nerves, and she
Yeah.
was like it was like electricity rode up my leg, like, she was just
Wow.
like, "Oh my god, I can actually feel my feet," like, it
That's
was
awesome.
so now she's a
Wow.
huge, huge, huge advocate of
Yeah.
it, but then she saw me as a patient, so she started using
Okay.
it, so then she came to me as a patient, and she was like, "I want to walk again one day."
Yeah.
And then, so she was using a walker and then kind of like a single arm walker a little bit. And then, so she was essentially like, look at my entire program and tell me how to up sensory in every aspect from the hands to the feet to the skin,
Right.
right? She
Yeah.
was like, you look at it and just put the sprinkles of sensory
Yeah.
on everything, right? Which is what I did. I got her
Right.
to start visualizing. I got her to do diaphragmatic breath work.
Yeah.
I got her to start to connect to her pelvic floor. So things that like no one has had her done, and then obviously stimulate her feet, stimulate her
Yeah.
skin, all of that. Uh,
Mouth.
and so then she came back to me like a month ago after doing
Okay.
it for like 6 weeks, 2 months, something like
Okay.
that. I was like, oh my God. Like, she is walking. I was just like,
Wow.
yeah, I was like,
Yay.
"You look amazing." Like, watch I was
Oh,
like, "Oh my god, she can get on, like, the examination table." She was just I was like, "Oh my god, girl, you are, like,
oh, that's
warrior."
awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. So she's now continuing, and then, of course, it's
Yeah.
layers, the journey, and
Yeah.
it will be literally a forever journey for her, just as is with everyone.
Right.
But then I'm incorporating just even more, like, how else could we do this, right? Like, how could we now, um, integrate her foot muscles a little bit more with her pelvic floor and her hip,
Right.
so she
Mhm.
can do a true single leg stance, because part of
Right.
gait that sometimes people don't realize unless they're trying to actually learn to walk again is
Right.
how important single leg stability is to take each step so we can walk
Yeah.
without ever really doing what's called single limb support. You're on
Speaking
two
my language. Yeah.
you're on both feet at the same time, almost the same time during the
Mhm.
entire cycle, and that's actually not how we walk.
Right.
60% of walking involves you being on one leg, and that's
Right.
important to note. So for any of the listeners, to walk well for a very, very long time, you have to focus on single leg stability.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. So important. So important. Thank you for echoing that for the
Yeah.
listeners.
Uh,
So that's really important. I love that you do that. So that's a great story. I love that. That
yeah,
always gets
I
you.
love her story. Yeah,
So
it's
where do you see Naboso in 2 years?
Well, so what I will say for next year, so
Uh-huh.
for 2026, so depending on
Uh-huh.
someone would say this, for 2026, we are really focusing on the education side. So Naboso just acquired my education company, and
Okay.
I am all about education being empowerment. So like knowledge is power, kind of that
Yeah.
thing, and really offering and getting more of the programming and the protocol
Mhm.
around a lot of our products.
Yeah.
And then we are looking at other stimulation. So right now this is
Yeah.
texture, and we're looking at other stimuli that could be stacked with
Mhm.
texture. We're also looking very heavily at emotion. So
Yeah.
our products stimulate the peripheral nervous system. So we have our
Mhm.
central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system.
Right.
Your peripheral nervous system, that a lot of people think about like, oh yeah, that's just the nerves in your hands and your feet, which is what it is. That's what allows me to grip things and
Right.
feel things. But your autonomic nervous system, simply stated, parasympathetic, sympathetic, which then translates into emotion,
Yeah.
um, is also part of your peripheral nervous system. So I have seen quite a few CRPS or RSD, don't really call it RSD anymore, but complex regional pain syndrome.
Mhm.
And some of these different, it's actually an autonomic nerve response.
Uh-huh.
But when people get, so let's say in the case of like a spasm in your foot.
Uh-huh. Sure.
So let's say you have a spasm in your foot and you're just like, oh my God, it's spasming. And then, so you're having a response, right?
Sure.
You're starting to have a sympathetic fight or flight response, right? There's just
Right.
like, oh my God. So possibly in the back of your mind is this going to stop? Is this going to get worse? Right? So you're thinking things. That autonomic emotional response that you're having is
Mhm.
actually making your spasm worse.
Right.
So it's
100%.
which is why they always advocate meditation,
Right.
acupuncture, mind body for chronic disorders,
Right.
including things like MS, Parkinson's, spinal cord, because your emotional state or this autonomic state can enhance or throw off the nervous system
Sure.
peripherally. So it's just so deeply interconnected.
Yeah.
So
But I
that's,
love what you're saying because I think that's like a daily thing, but I don't think there's enough taught like when you're in the midst of it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like what I think you're saying is that
yeah,
when you're in the midst of having that pain or that
yeah,
spasticity, it's like, you're just that's a lot of what I'm teaching like new patients that are
yeah,
like, I don't know what's happening. I'm terrified. And
yeah,
it's kind of that like breathing, calming down in the midst of it. So I
yeah,
love that you're doing that. I love that. Very
yeah.
cool.
And then so the angle that we're trying to take with it is because everything that we speak about is feeling your body, touch,
Right.
sensory, right?
Yes.
Is how can you then just feel the body through it,
Yeah.
right? And then creating sensory anchors.
Yes.
So to me, sensation is very calming to my nervous system.
Mhm.
Like when I touch
Yes.
this, it's just very calming. Some could be
Yeah.
like, ah, this is like that. And it's about training the mind and the anchored emotion,
Yeah.
right? And this is where like a lot of cranial sacral therapists will use
Mhm.
Naboso and things is like, okay, I feel my feet, right? I feel the
Right.
ground. I
Yes.
feel the ground below me. I am safe. So here it would just be like, okay, connect to the body. I
Yes.
feel the weight of gravity on my
Yeah.
shoulders. I feel the weight. So that's kind of how Naboso's trying to fit appropriately into
Mhm.
the conversation is through feeling and
Yeah.
connecting. And that then can modulate the emotions.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that'll be our next getting together is I want to
Yes,
hear all about that, what that's
there you
like.
go, yes.
Well, I cannot tell you I've been so excited. I wanted you to be on so bad. So I know
Yeah.
our listeners will have a million questions and will want to know all about you. So promise you'll come back for
Absolutely.
sure. And
Yes.
really excited to know more about you and about this company. And just, I know listeners, to pull over because of everything on the bottom of the show notes, like I always do. And just really looking forward to knowing more about you and Naboso and just very excited about what you're doing and about how this is helping so many. I mean, it's just so many different people and different issues. And I appreciate all that you're doing. And I know we all do in this community. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. I hope you guys love this. Don't forget to hit subscribe and we will see you next week on Move It or Lose It. And again, thank you so much for being on, Dr. Emily, and have a great week, you guys. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Move It or Lose It podcast. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and left a review. Remember, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. New episodes of the Move It or Lose It podcast air every other Wednesday. If you have any suggestions for future guests or topics, please visit my website at www.msdisrupted.com. Until next time.